Hello and welcome to another edition of OK Tabletop. I'm Halsey. Today's episode, we're going to dive back into the frozen ruins of Felstad for another epic Frostgrave adventure. Today we're continuing the second scenario of the Dark Alchemy campaign, Skeletal Run. Enough of me talking, let's get playing.
This is Scenario 2 of the Dark Alchemy campaign, Skeletal Run. Having escaped the clutches of the alchemical monstrosity, the scattered members of the warband now find themselves in the ruins of a long, high-walled complex filled with the broken remains of giant vats and ovens. Shattered ceramic pipework covers large section of the floor, wall, and ceiling. Just as the members pause to catch their breath, they see something glowing in the darkness before them and hear the scraping of ancient bones. A second later, the same scraping can be heard in the passageway behind them.
Treasure tokens. We have one up here on this bridge, one back here in this little ruined house, one up here on this little stone grotto, and lastly, one back in this room. We also have 5 spawn points for the burning skeletons. We have number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, and lastly number 5 right by the board exit. As far as deployment goes, we're going to have Endar and my knight back here. And over here on the other side, we're going to have the ranger and the marksman. And for the first wizard phase, Endar is going to make a movement right up here. That's for his full 6 inches. The knight is going to follow. It's him right about there. For his second action, Endar is going to cast Leap on my knight. Need a 10, and that is 11. That is a success. My knight gets to move 10 inches in any direction. We're going to move him right over here. For my soldier phase, Marksman is going to make both of his moves. Puts him right about at that first step. Ranger is going to use both moves, which puts him right under this bridge. And now for the creature phase, we have 2 burning skeletons spawning on the starting corners of the board. And also we have to find out where 2 more are going to randomly spawn. So we have spawn point 1 and spawn point 2. So a skeleton at spawn point 1. And a skeleton at spawn point 2. The burning skeletons make random movements towards the exit edge of the board if they can't see anybody. So this guy is going to move up here, and another 3 towards that edge. And this skeleton makes his first random movement out here. And now he can see my knight, so he's going to engage him into combat. Will not be able to attack this turn. And this skeleton cannot see my ranger over there yet. He's not in line of sight, so he's going to make his first move towards the edge of the board, which puts him right about here. He can obviously see my ranger now, so he's going to take his second action to move a little bit closer. And finally, the last skeleton is going to make his first move towards Endar, my wizard. He can see him, so he's going to make his first move to engage in combat and obviously make an attack. And my wizard has a +3 to fight versus skeleton's +1. That is a 22 for me, and an 11, 22 hits. And that attack does 1 point of damage, sending that burning skeleton out of here. That is it for the creature phase. And for my wizard phase, Endar is going to make a double move, and it's going to put him right about here to assist the knight. For the soldier phase, first we'll move my marksman. He's going to make a double move, and that puts him right up here at the top of these stairs on his way to that treasure. For the ranger's turn, he's going to make his first movement up here onto this rock. And then we're going to target that skeleton before he becomes a problem. Ranger's shoot is a +2. That's dropped down to a +1 because I moved, so that's a hasty shot, versus +1 for the burning skeletons fight. So that's an 18 versus a 12. 18 hits. That's going to do some damage, and that skeleton is outski. My knight is going to take a swing at the burning skeleton, and don't forget he's got a +2 bonus for having Endar there assisting. So that's a +6 with the assistance versus a +1, so that's a 17 versus a 14. 17 hits that skeleton, and that's 7 points of damage to that burning skeleton. He is gone. And for my knight's second action, he's going to make his movement, which puts him right up past this house. And now for the creature phase, we have another burning skeleton spawning at spawn point 4. And now for continuing the creature phase, this burning skeleton makes his first move here. He can now see my ranger, so he is going to make his second move in that direction. And very much the same, this newly spawned skeleton makes his first move and can actually see Endar, my wizard, so he's going to make his second move, which puts him right about there. For the wizard phase, Endar is going to make his first move kind of over here by this Grotto bridge. He is going to cast Elemental Ball at the burning skeleton. Need an 11. That is an 18. That hits. So Elemental Ball is a +8 shooting attack. Yeah, we're totally making that. That's a 27. That skeleton is gone. That is my wizard phase. And for soldier phase, we're going to move my knight. Double move. Puts him right up here on his way to get that treasure. Now my ranger is going to take a shot at that skeleton. That's a +2 shoot versus skeleton's +1 fight. That's a 12 versus a 14. So unfortunately, my ranger misses. For my ranger's second action, he's going to make a move, which puts him here by this door. My marksman is going to advance up onto this bridge and pick up that treasure, which means we will be rolling for a random encounter. 15 or higher means a random monster enters the board. 7, so no monster. Now for creature phase, we have another burning skeleton spawning at spawn point 1, who immediately takes action, goes out the building, sees Endar, and will advance to attack him. The other burning skeleton is going to use his action to move up to my ranger, locking into combat and making an attack. It's a +2 fight from my ranger versus +1 on the skeleton. So that's a 12 versus 18. 18 does hit my ranger, and that's going to be 7 points of damage on my ranger. And not only that, that's an added 2 points because he is on fire and he won the combat. So that is 9 points of damage, putting my ranger down to 3 health. Wizard phase. Endar is making an attack versus the skeleton. That's a +3 versus +1. We got an 8 versus a 9. 9 hits Endar, but does not damage him through his armor. However, because he won the battle, he will suffer 2 points of damage from the burning of the burning skeleton. Soldier phase. Marksman is just going to take 1 step off this bridge. I'm going to go ahead and fall and take a point of damage for that fall, and he's going to continue his movement just around this corner here with his treasure, of course. The knight is going to come up here and pick up that treasure, which means rolling again for a random encounter. 15 and up for a random monster. That is 11. No monster. Ranger attacking that darn skeleton. Let's hope this works out. That's +2 fight versus +1 fight. That is a 13 versus a 5. That does hit. 13 beats that armor, and he's gone. For my ranger's second action, we're going to go through this door here into the ruins. We are going to climb up onto this little platform. Unfortunately, climbing up there, I am not able to pick up that treasure token just yet this turn. Creature phase, got another burning skeleton spawning in at spawn point 5. Cannot see anyone, so he's making his first movement over here. Can see my ranger, so he's going to advance his second move that way. And lastly, that burning skeleton's going to attack again on Endar, hopefully getting lucky like my ranger did. It's a +3 versus a +1. Endar hits that for 22, and that gets rid of that burning skeleton. Good. Moving on. Next wizard phase brings us to Endar. He's going to climb up here and pick up that treasure, resulting in another roll for random creature. 15 or higher. 11. Still no random creatures. Onto the soldier phase. Marksman is going to make a double movement, which puts him over here. Onto my ranger. He is going to pick up that treasure token, resulting in another roll for random creature. See if we get a 15 or higher. A 9. Absolutely no random creatures in this scenario. And for my ranger's second movement, we are going to just jump down here. That is under 3 inches, so he will not be taking any damage there. And he will zip out this door, treasure in hand. Hopefully heading for freedom. Finally, for the soldier phase, my knight is taking that treasure, and he is going to make a double movement, which puts him right outside this room with his treasure in hand. Which brings us again to the creature phase. Once again, a burning skeleton will be spawning, this time at spawn point 4. For that creature, he is going to make a double movement, which takes him over here. Will he get to the knight in time? Or will he decide to go to the ranger? Time will tell. Finally, for this creature phase, the skeleton is going to make his first movement, which does not put him close enough to my ranger to lock into combat, so he's going to have to use his second movement to engage. Back to the wizard phase again. Endar is going to take a chance, zip down to the end of this grotto here with his newly acquired treasure, narrowly staying out of 1 inch of that burning skeleton, and we're going to try to cast wall to block that line of sight. I need a 10 or higher. 17 is a success. So let's stick a wall right in front of him, keeping him free of me and my ranger. Onto the soldier phase. Marksman's going to make a detour and come over here to assist his buddy, the ranger. Ranger's going to take a swing at that burning skeleton with assistance from the marksman. He gets a +4 to the skeleton's +1. We got a 14. Ooh, and a 20. This does not look good for the ranger. That's 9 points of damage to my ranger, and he is defeated. All by his lonesome, the marksman makes an attack at the flaming skeleton. It's a +2 versus a +1 for the skeleton. We've got an 8 versus a 5. That's a hit, but no damage. But we are going to knock him back an inch. Lastly, for the soldier phase, the smell of sweet victory. The knight is exiting the board with a treasure in hand. Creature phase, we've got a burning skeleton in on spawn point 2. He cannot see anybody, so he's going to make a random move. towards the board edge, make a second move. He cannot see anything with that wall there. Puts him right about at that rock. Alright, and that skeleton is going to come back to my marksman once again. Deja vu, right? And he's going to attack again. That's a 1 for his fight versus my 2. That's a 7 versus a 1. Once again, I win that, and we're knocking him back. Deja vu. Now we're rolling to see if my wall stays intact. It will be fine as long as I roll under a 17. And that's a 10. Wall stays intact. And back to wizard phase. Speaking of walls, we're going to try to cast wall a second time here and stick one right here to keep that skeleton from bothering my marksman. So once again, that's a 10 or higher. 13 gets us a wall. So let's plop one down right in front of that skeleton. Oh, he's stuck in that house. How sad. And for Endar's last action of this scenario, we're going to take that treasure and exit the board. And the poor marksman left all alone with some fortification behind him. We are going to see if he can get out of here and grab that second treasure, because in the Dark Alchemy rules, we can carry more than one treasure unhindered. So we're going to grab that second treasure and make our final action, this soldier phase, right underneath this grotto with those treasures, and see if we can get to the edge before more skeletons come our way. Once again, random roll determines that spawn point 2, another burning skeleton's going to pop up there. He can't see anything, so he's heading towards the board exit once again, and he's ending up right behind the previous one. Burning skeletons for their moves. We've got one here. He cannot see anything, so he's going to continue to the board edge, taking him right about there. And ever so similarly, this burning skeleton is going to come up to this board edge, cannot see anything, so he's going to end up right over here around spawn point 5. Rolling to see if walls stay intact. Here's for the first wall closest to the board edge. That wall is safe. Second wall. That wall is safe. And lastly, treasure-toting marksman is going to make his double movement off that board, right past those pesky skeletons, securing not one, but 2 treasures. What a nice guy. And that's it. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did playing it. Stay tuned for the 3rd episode, the final episode in the Dark Alchemy campaign, The Spreading Flames. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next OK Tabletop.